basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast.
The Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay podcast, a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. Okay, Bob, let's get to it here. You want to talk about Karl Anthony-Towns and what you've seen from him so far.
One of the bigger stories of the offseason was the trade between the Timberwolves and the Knicks. And after 9 seasons with the Timberwolves, during which the only year he did not score at least 20 points a game was his rookie year when he scored 18. He made the All-Star team 5 times, the All-Star game. He was All-NBA third team twice. But there was something apparently lacking. You know, he wasn't noted to be a great defender. I think he had some issues originally with Tom Thibodeau. And they were willing to give him up and go for Julius Randle, and particularly. And the season went. The Knicks had a good year. Anyway, we get into the playoffs, and we get back-to-back games. We get Karl Anthony-Towns as the center of interest, because in game 2, he is held out in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks do not prevail. And then in the next game, he is at his absolute best. I mean, he was an offensive terror. This guy, his range is phenomenal. He is the prototypical 21st century big man, in that he is 7 feet tall. He has extraordinary shooting range, and he's an offensive oriented guy. And he went to the basket, and I've never seen him go to the basket the way he did, as frequently and as efficiently as he did in the last game, finishing with either hand, and he took over that game. And he's you wonder now, what do they do? Do they now they've got an interesting center combination, because he's totally offensively oriented and Mitchell Robinson's totally defensive oriented. And they can play them together because of his shooting range for a while. I just think, whether this unlocks anything for Tom Thibodeau, in terms of the way that I think that even his teammates who have watched him all year and see the components were amazed at what they had seen in that fourth quarter with him the other night when he had 20 points. So I don't know whether this is going to be a one-off story or if suddenly he will become a focal point. We'll see. It's sports. But the guy's career is very interesting. He was first, he's a star in New Jersey. He was born and raised in North Jersey. His mother's Dominican, so he has actually played for the Dominican national team and intends to do so, I think, in the future as well. He's the first round pick, number 1 pick in the draft. I had forgotten that. I knew he was number 1 pick, but I didn't realize he was number one in 2015 out of Kentucky. And but he wasn't, respected. He hadn't earned it, despite all the points that he scored. Well, I just don't know if this is going to be, as they say, a one-off, as the Brits would say, or whether, as Steve Allen would say, the start of something big. Well, I don't know.
He wasn't labeled a winner.
No.
Right? Talented, but not a winner.
True. There was a but with him. I just like to put it back.
And the fact that Minnesota gave up on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the guy's, has averaged as much as 24 points a game. You can see why. But so it was a story. It was the story of the comeback. The comeback in general was a story, of course, but but his play was extraordinary. And
so the Knicks. Okay, so obviously, if they hadn't come back, it would be dire straits for the Knicks. But can the Knicks come back now, or do you expect Indiana to close this out?
You know what? I think we got uncertainty here. I mean, we've seen too many crazy things. The Knicks are putting on a postseason extraordinaire. They now won 3 games by trailing by 20, and all on the road, which is no one would have predicted that for anybody.
Right.
No one. So I don't care whether it was the Thunder with their 68 wins or Cleveland with their 64 or the Celtics. No, nobody was expecting a team that could do that. So they're having a very fascinating postseason. I'm not sure. Indiana, I still like Indiana. I still like a lot about Indiana. Now, suddenly we have an issue of a player who's been important, Aaron Nesmith. We don't know how his ankle is, and they could have used him on defense the other night. And of course, in the second game, that guy made all those threes, including 6 in the fourth quarter. So if they don't have him, that's a major weapon that they're going to have to figure out a way to make up for. But so I'm not going to make any predictions at all. I'm just sitting back and enjoying. I really think these playoffs have been outstanding right from the first round, and it's good and general entertainment for anybody who professes to like basketball. I think that we've been well served, and I know the hockey feel the same way, people. So that's great, good. But in our world here, I think these games have been, really fascinating, very, very often, and I hope we get more of it. With that level.
And with the playoffs, there's always some great stories. Like, and Delon Wright seems to be.
Here's a guy that was seldom, they picked him up from Milwaukee during the season. I don't really, frankly, know how much effect he ever had, whether he ever factored in winning a game or not, even one game along the way. I don't know. And he was not seen or heard from in the playoffs basically at all until 2 nights ago. And Tom Thibodeau, and this is the real story, is he rethinking about his use of his personnel? Because at a crucial moment, he went with 2 bench people, Wright and Payne, Cameron Payne, and and Wright delivered for him. Wright is interesting. There are other guys like this, but he's in the category. This is team number 10. So when a guy is bounced around to 10 teams, what it means is obviously somebody wants you at times, but nobody wants you enough to hold on to you. But he was originally drafted as the number 1 pick, the 20th of the first round in 2015. And he's been with Toronto, Memphis, Dallas, Denver, Sacramento, Atlanta, Washington, Miami, Milwaukee, and finally New York. This was one of his shining moments. He's a career 6 points a game off the bench guy. He's a career 3-point shooter, however, and that's one thing that's kept him around at 44% and 45 almost. And with the Knicks this year, he shot 47%. Yeah, he is up. He's a career. He's averaged as many as 10. He's averaged double figures 4 times, and the last time was in 2021, which is a while back. And he's, by the way, for you don't know, he's 6'5". He's and I'm sure you can be forgiven if you have never heard of him, even though he's bounced around for 10 teams, or if you forgot all about him, whichever. But he had his moment, and we'll see if that was. I'm predicting more than likely that's the moment for him. But give him his due. He helped win an important game.
What do you think about the reports that the Dallas Mavericks could be interested in Jrue Holiday?
Well, they, I mean, what we want from them, I don't know, but I can see people they fit the profile. I can see a team wanting to firm up, wanting to add a key veteran component that thinks they can accomplish something, and he would fit that description. Yeah. I mean, you don't expect him to be the all-star guy or even a guy that was the guy for the Celtics last year, the 23-24 year, but he still can make a contribution, and you always want to have him hanging around. That is great to have around. So I can believe anybody. If you told me that now they're not, to me, I don't think they're close. I mean, I don't know what they think they can accomplish or how. We don't know what they're going to be. They're going to have, of course, they're going to have Cooper Flagg, we assume, as the first pick. And they're going to have, with Anthony Davis, there's always but sure, if he's healthy, he's wonderful. But when has he ever stayed healthy for very long? There's no reason to think that's ever going to change. Anyway, they're not, in my mind, there's probably other teams that would make more sense, or he could be, that are closer to doing something. But certainly I can see any smart team wanting him.
I think that for a young player like Cooper Flagg, who seemed, from what we understand, he's a great kid from the fine pine tree state of Maine, good values, good head on his shoulders, and so forth. But Jrue Holiday is the consummate pro. If there's one guy that can teach somebody how to be a pro in this league, it's him. I
Yeah,
mean, the guy is exemplary. And I'd always followed his career, at various points and then with Milwaukee, but I didn't know Drew Holiday. I didn't know his personality. I didn't.
right.
But after seeing him with the Celtics, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed by the guy.
Well, we
And
know the guy has won multiple awards off the court for the kind of person he is, for his charity and his worldview. So we know that, and that's always impressive. By the way, Karl Anthony-Towns won a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Award one year. He's interested in just social justice.
right.
So good for him. Anyway, Holiday. No, Holiday comes with these tremendous credentials, and so yeah, I can see anybody really want.
So here's a guy with two
That's a
NBA
good point
rings.
about having flag around. Yeah,
Yeah, two NBA rings. The guy's building. I just think I get it. Like some people will say with that, like I totally get what Nico Harrison's after. This is a guy that has won two. He's a professional. He'll show you how to do business. So I totally get it. Um, Ant-Man seemed to be a little shy in the first
Wow,
part of the day.
that
Yeah.
was he. I don't know. He took two shots in the first half of the game the other night, and last night, excuse me, as we speak, and it hurt them. I think it clearly hurt them. He woke up a little bit in the second half, but what that was all about, I have you seen anything out of him for a viable explanation?
No, I have not.
I didn't. I didn't. I'm sure. I don't know how much he spoke after the game about that. I didn't get to see it, but they were all over that at halftime on TV. I thought Stephen A. Smith was going to have the big one about that, and he was screaming about that. But he was right to and the point he wanted to make, the basic point about you can't have this guy, this team leader, taking two shots in the first half. First thing I thought of, was two shots, but it was totally different circumstance given the positions. Famously, in 1968, in Game 7 between the Celtics and the 76ers, as the Celtics were becoming the first team at that point in NBA history to come from a 3-1 deficit, Wilt Chamberlain took two shots in the second half. They lost a 4-point game. Now, Wilt was a center. Somebody had to throw him the ball. So I don't know. I'd love to see the tape and find out, how many times he passed up or whatever he did. Anyway, so in terms of taking two shots and a half, that's the one I know. That's the standard that I can revert back to. But still, I would predict that when we next see Ant-Man, he will get the ball up a few more times in the first half than two. But they lost a game that was not. It was still available.
What do you make of Minnesota, Bob? Because they made the deal, and it seems like the Knicks got the better part of the deal. Last year, with the way Minnesota played, we thought they were the next big thing. And now they have regressed. Oklahoma City is just toying with them.
Well, except for there was an aberrational game then in this series, and they win by 40. Oklahoma City becomes the first team ever to win a game and lose a game by 40 in the same playoffs season, as far as we know. Julius Randle is a barometer. When he's really playing well, they're dangerous, and when he's not playing well, they're not, and that's so much. They can be. I don't expect them to win the series, but I still can see them taking it 6, maybe. I can see. I'm not so overwhelmed by OKC when they're playing very well, but I'm not overwhelmed by them. But Minnesota, they're good. They're good. But they're not. They're not a championship team, for sure. And Randall, he's had some excellent games in the postseason, and including one in this series. But they got to get something out of him, and you got that. But I said, remember, I'll stick with what I said from the beginning, which is that when the playoffs started, that there were the 360 win teams, and if anyone other than one of them won, I would be very, very surprised. And so Oklahoma City is the last one standing of those 360 win teams, and I'm still picking them to do it, to win. So I'll stick with that.
Yeah, who do you think would have the best shot between New York or Indiana. What's the toughest matchup for OKC?
I want to see. We've now got a new wrinkle in the story, which is fun, to have, which is the way New York got it done the other night, with Brunson, not being the factor in the fourth. He finished. He closed in the end with a little bit, but he wasn't the factor. The factor was Towns. The factor was other people, including how that's going to how they're going to play from here on. I don't know. I like Indiana. They're more, I think, a little more reliable. Yeah, absolutely. And the Holiday, Holiday can be very, very good. My guy TJ O'Connell continues to do what he does. So I think I'm going to stick with Indiana. But it deserves to go 7. That's serious. I think I really believe that it deserves to go 7. And in that case, the game 7 would be in New York. So,
you think this is going 7, Knicks?
I don't think either team is going to have a knockout punch on the other team. I think they're too, too. I won't say evenly matched, but implies that you just match up the position by position. But the totality of what they do to get it done, however differently it may be, is very similar. It's very close. There's not much margin of difference about the efficiency level of these teams at a high level. That's what I'm trying to spit out. So I think this deserves to go 7.
You know what I find interesting in coming off the era of, and we've talked about this, of the Larry and Magic and Michael and LeBron, and if Indiana, I don't think you can say this about New York because we've talked about.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think New York is as deep as the Pacers, but if the Pacers take on Oklahoma City, you've got two teams that, yes, SGA is a star, but boy, those rosters are deep. And they're more teams than they are, one star against another. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. We got an MVP to talk about, of course, but still, Jalen Williams.
Yeah, but he's not an MVP.
But he is a hell of a Robin. If you're going to go the Batman Robin, metaphor,
right,
analogy, whatever, then you got to go. He showed you what is capable of. He's awful young, and he's going to be he is a terrific player. You just project him as a perennial all-star. James Worthy level, perennial all-star, kind of thing. I'm just using that as a for instance, not that they're similar, but the level of play. Yeah, it's SGA is. Holiday is a terrific player, and as a matter of fact, I reached out to Doc to see his opinion of what he liked about, respected about Indiana, and the thing he came up with was. This is Doc Rivers who told me this. Holiday, he thinks, is a star who knows how to, is acutely aware of the other guys, does not seek out points for point's sake, always seems to have the right instinct of when to make the right pass and when to take the shot. That's coming from Doc. It's not coming from me. So
right.
I was very impressed with that. And he's very impressed with Doc Tyrese Holiday's approach to the game of basketball.
Okay. I want to make sure. Are you Holiday or Halliburton?
I said Holiday.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, excuse me, folks. The senior moment. Halliburton, of course.
Right. I knew what you meant. We knew it.
Yeah, I know, but people say, yeah, the old guy's screwing up. Yeah, Halliburton, of course, is what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so that's good. No, I like them. Because I love O'Connell. And as I said earlier, he's who I wanted Pritchard to be. That and they're so similar physically, and they have certain of the same attributes. And the difference being Pritchard is a first-rate three-point shooter. O'Connell has one in his repertoire, but Pritchard that's his raison d'etre. But other than that, they have very similar games and are very similar players.
All right, Bob. I think we've covered it. Unless you have anything else, I think.
No, I just want to salute everybody. The NBA should be feeling good that I know they're not. We kid about this. That the team that the Mucky Mucks want to get to the finals, of course, is New York. I mean, I don't know. I think there's an angst if we have a Minneapolis Indianapolis final. I don't know if that's going to move the needle for the average fan.
or even with
I
OKC.
know. So but this drives me personally crazy. I don't understand being that kind of level of fandom. To me, no matter what sport, if you want the teams that should be there, that's all. Of course, the one sport that never has to worry about this, to their credit, they figured out how to capture the American public, is football.
Right.
I mean, nobody, whoever the team at the moment is, doesn't matter which city they come from. But it does seem to matter in the other three sports for the public when you get to the money games. So anyway, but I'll thoroughly enjoy any matchup that we are presented with from these four teams. I think the playoffs have been excellent and a lot of fun to watch.
I agree. All right, Bob Ryan. You've been listening to the Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay podcast, a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. All right, Bob, I will be on assignment. You and Jeff Gordon will hold down the fort. Jeff Goodman will hold down the fort. We both had senior moments. Jeff Goodman will have hold down the fort later in the week.
All right, very good. We'll have fun. We'll have fun, of course. And anyway, I'm just enjoying these games. I really am. I look forward to them every night.